Middle is a small target 10 feet up in the air, and Dad is a computer science major, not an athletics scholarship. He missed by about 8 inches and instead very solidly stabs Bread Jesus right through the groin, leaving a big hole in Marie's tea towel, and his spear jutting out at a decidedly attentive angle as Bread Jesus' bread dick drops to the floor with a splat. Nobody notices this, however, because number 2. In rehearsal, Dad had managed to get the spear right in Jesus' navel, but neither Father Patrick nor the other Romans could get wine up there to make his middle appropriately bloody. Maria came up with a genius solution that since wine is made of grapes, and jam is made of grapes, she can make a jelly-filled Jesus for Dad to stab. There was a normal-sized test loaf, and when Dad stabbed it on the table, it had nicely gooey dribbling effects. However, this time the loaf was torso-sized, still hot from the oven, and upright. So when Dad speared the very end of the loaf, all the steam-pressure jam had collected at the bottom, and a spray of lukewarm Schmuckers exploded out from Bread Jesus, turning the first 3 pews into a splash zone of symbolic entrails. There was a hot, sticky minute of complete silence in the church after that. Then, Father Patrick indicated it was time for the cross to be lowered, and continued on with the normal preparations of the host. He himself covered in hot Smuckers, as though nothing particularly ordinary was occurring, quietly kicking the bread dick under the altar. At the end of it all, Father Patrick invited everyone up with the last oration. And everyone came up, shuffling like terrified zombies, pinching off tiny bits at first, but then the madness took over them, and they began tearing apart Bread Jesus by the handful, weeping as they partook, scattered prayers and begging for forgiveness. The whole congregation was kneeling about the altar, tearful and united in their guilt and their need for God. Is church always like that? 6-year-old me asked, absolutely stoked. I convert on the spot if I got to see a show like that. No, it's not about bland wafers and lots of chanting in Latin. Well, that's boring as hell, I remember muttering, and Dad snorting the coffee he was drinking out of his nose. As people filed silently out of the church to a gloriously sunny California afternoon, faces was smeared with wine and jam, Father Patrick turned to me and asked, "You don't think that was too much, do you?" "No," said Maria with a sarcastic deadpan, so intense it was hard to tell from sincerity. It was the exact same tone she used when the Archbishop and 6 other high clergy showed up, clutching a letter someone had written, livid and almost foaming at the mouth, demanding to know if such blasphemy had transpired. "No, that's crazy," she said, staring down the Archbishop like he was an idiot. "Such imaginations people have," said Father Patrick, much less convincingly. "And you didn't spear an effigy of our Lord and Savior?" the Archbishop demanded of my father. "Do I look like I can jump that high?" Dad asks, having in the interim been drafted for 51 days, then nearly died of pneumonia from it, and therefore no longer afraid of the church, the God, or law. Somewhat relieved that he'd only received the extremely detailed ramblings of a doddering parishioner, the Archbishop sat down and complimented Maria on her most excellent Mexican wedding cookies. "May I please have another plate for my nerves? Perhaps the one with sprinkles." Dad went up to build the internet for the church. Father Patrick converted to Buddhism, and Maria became a nun. And for those of you wondering, Jesus was made of challah bread.